What is up, guys? So today is Thursday, July 24th, and unfortunately, I did not take any trades today. Even though the price action does look kind of clean, my trading model didn't show up at any single one of the macros today, so I actually sat on my hands. I took a look at every macro, and unfortunately, there was literally no setup that I felt confident taking. So let's just go over what happened, right? Overall, yesterday we had this move on up, almost hitting all-time highs and then failing to do so, dropping down into this 4-hour FEG. So coming into this morning, I had a bullish bias because I wanted to see price come up into this 425 level and take out all-time highs. So then going down to the hourly chart, you can see it was a mess. There was a lot of consolidation, a lot of upper wicks and lower wicks. But the biggest thing that I noticed was how on the hourly chart, we had this bearish fair value gap right there that was respected, and we had this bullish fair value gap that got disrespected here at 9 o'clock. So on the hourly chart, I actually had a bearish bias, and that was conflicting with what I had on the 4-hour. So then now coming onto the 15-minute time frame, the biggest thing that I saw in the morning was the fact that we had this 15-minute bearish fair value gap that we actually invalidated in the pre-market. So it looked like it wanted to continue moving higher. So that conflicting biases between the 4-hour, the 1-hour, and the 15-minute made me not want to take any trades in the first macro, even though there was a bearish setup. That was a decent setup. If you went solely based off of the 1-hour and that there was a bearish order flow on the hourly, on the 15-minute it had bearish structure, but the order flow was not bearish. So that's why I didn't take any longs or any shorts. But yeah, the shorts worked out, right? But unfortunately to my model, if you want it to be an A plus setup, you want the order flow and bearish and the structure to be bearish, both of them, on at least 2 time frames, and that it would make sense. But since the 4-hour looked bullish, the 15-minute had bullish structure with bearish structure with bullish order flow, and the hourly was the one with both bearish structure and bearish order flow, I didn't feel confident taking anything. But just to take a look at the price action itself, you could see that we had this 1-minute fair value gap that happened outside of the macro that gets invalidated as soon as the macro starts, which pretty much was the high from this right here. So that obviously hit a very decent risk to reward. And I didn't take it. And then because of the fact that we had that conflicting bias on multiple time frames, that was why I didn't take this long entry here. The hourly time frame made me not want any kind of longs, and unfortunately this got stopped out. And just the fact that the 15-minute had bearish structure, like I said, made me not want to take anything in this macro right here. And so neither longs or shorts. So the shorts did pay out, but like I said, I didn't feel confident. Coming into New York AM3, I wanted to look for a long setup at this point. Why? Because at this point on the hourly time frame, we had a lower wick sweeping out that low. We were back above this IFEG that got disrespected now, and it looked like we wanted to head on higher. So I thought, okay, yeah, we're going to head higher. It seems kind of bullish in my opinion. Then we have this 15-minute fair value gap, this bearish one that gets invalidated right before AM3. So I'm like, okay, cool. What I want to see is a retracement into this 15-minute fair value gap that gets created here, maybe at 11. We get a retracement down into it, and then a push higher to all-time highs. That was my thinking. And as you can see, during AM3, where is it? Here at the 1050 macro, we get no retracement. We get no bearish fair value gap that gets invalidated. So there was no setup here for me to take. Same bias in New York launch. I had a bullish bias, all right, for the same exact reason. I wanted a retracement and then invalidation. So I was like, oh, great, a bearish fair value gap, another one. And then even I was settling even for this little one right there. And no IFEG happened within the macro. So that sucks. There was no setup whatsoever, but I was bullish on these two. Here I had no bias. Here I was bullish. Here I was bullish, but no setups. All right. Now come into New York PM session. What do we end up getting? A very strong push, getting very close to 425. We get a retracement into a higher time frame 15-minute fair value gap that we tap right into it. Here's a 1-minute bearish fair value gap. Here's another one. We unfortunately do not get the invalidation of this during the macro, so again, no setup. Overall, there was no follow through whatsoever today. The price action was not great in my opinion. And it's probably, I think, the first time I've had that no setup appeared for my model. Am I upset about it? No. Even here at the end of the day, the last hour, bullish, right? We have stacked equal highs, a bearish fair value gap that does not get invalidated. So I sat on my hands all day. I didn't take a single trade because the model wasn't there. Why am I going to force something that's not there? Okay, so I am thankful that I didn't take anything because my account is alive and well, and I have no reason to be upset because I followed my rules. So hopefully you guys ended up green today. It was pretty tough. There were some good entries, right, here and there, but overall, I didn't really like the price action. But we'll see what tomorrow brings. We'll see if tomorrow's a better day. And again, just going to stay disciplined. Same thinking. Wait for the right setup. That's all you got to do. All right, guys. Peace.